I could talk about Kingdom Hearts 2 and her like and how she interprets that. I haven't actually watched her Kingdom Hearts video, but from some of the stuff that I've gleaned about it, she has a Kingdom Hearts video. Do we watch that or I don't think no, I don't think that I could you guys I don't think anybody's ready for the amount of autism that would come out of my mouth.
I just want to get this out of the way before we get into it. While there are many allegations aimed towards Orchid, I'm not going to go over them here. I think it's important to think about the people that have been affected by the situation, but there's a time and place. In this video, we're just here to talk about Kingdom Hearts and media literacy. That being said, Orchard has a bad habit of shoehorning in heavy real world politics and abuse narratives into everything she talks about, and while it's not really an issue in this video, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. Thanks. Originally, this video was just going to be clipped from the end of my VOD about the Coffin of Andy and Lele video that Orchard made. Then my chat prompted me to look at her video on Kingdom Hearts. But then there was also some audio issues, and I skipped some important information, and I figured I'd just go ahead and make my own edited video using clips from my VOD. I'll link Lily's original video in my own VOD down in the description if you want to take a look.
I love Kingdom Hearts. It's probably my favorite anything ever. It's the one property I have no complaints about.
Okay, for one thing, if you're saying that you have no complaints about Kingdom Hearts, I have a problem with you. It is also my favorite thing ever. So it's on site, Lily Orchard.
Kingdom Hearts as a franchise has a lot of issues with it. As dear to my heart as it is, it suffers from some writing issues, unfortunate implications, and the fact that the story is spread out widely across multiple platforms. While these days we're more used to franchises having huge sprawling reaches across multiple movies, limited series, TV shows, and other media, this wasn't really the case back when Kingdom Hearts got its start. Something you only really saw in comic books as far as Western media goes, but it's been a lot more common in Japan for far longer.
Well, I have a lot of niggling complaints about it, but overall, every game in the series has been nothing but joy and happiness wrapped in an adorably edgy package like
No, it is not about joy and happiness, you fucking idiot.
a black-haired waltz.
If you made a drinking game about how many times Lily Orchard brings up her weird self insert Pokemon fanfiction, you'd just die.
Even the worst Kingdom Hearts game is better than most of the games on the market today. So
Chain of Memories is fucking insufferable. And I hate it so much. Like, I like the story. The story's pretty cool, and I like the themes of it, but the gameplay is awful. It's a fucking chore to play, and this is something that every Kingdom Hearts fan knows. So I'm wondering if Lily only played the fucking numbered games.
a lot of people have a bug up their ass about Kingdom Hearts' story and Kingdom Hearts 3 in particular, a bug that I've never really had. It's not uncommon to see a lot of people claim that Kingdom Hearts is a really complicated story with so many games across so many systems that are all super important.
Something I didn't really make clear in my live stream is that you can play Kingdom Hearts in any order you like and skip entire games altogether and still have fun with it. That isn't against the rules or anything. I just think it's weird to call something your favorite thing ever, acting like you're a super fan and make a video analyzing the series, and not sink your teeth into the entire franchise. Judging by the release date, though, this was more about the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 had just come out and so was the flavor of the month than Lily Orchard earnestly wanting to make a good video about something she liked.
So she's telling on herself. I'm pretty sure Lily only played the numbered games.
Kingdom Hearts game to understand what's going on in the story. The only games you need to play in full are Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Birth by Sleep, the final level of Dream Drop distance on both characters, and maybe 0.2.
See, here's the thing. The thing is, Kingdom Hearts does have something to say. And it does take all of those games to say it. That is probably one of its biggest weak points. Originally, I was going to include a summary of all of the Kingdom Hearts games because I felt that Lily didn't do a very good job of it. However, I had only gotten halfway through the second game in a 12-game franchise and the video was already 40 minutes long. A video covering that topic could be its own mini-series. Maybe one day I will do my own Kingdom Hearts retrospective and go through the games and how I feel about them in detail. But for now, I'll try to talk about the overarching themes of the series and how and why it takes such a long time to tell us the story that it wants to tell. Kingdom Hearts, for the most part, centers around the relationship of two characters, Sora and Riku, and how it changes and develops throughout the series. What was once an innocent and simple friendship begins to change when a girl named Kairi enters their lives. She acts as a force of change on Sora, Riku, the islands they grew up on, and the rest of the series as a whole. On first appearances, anyone would assume that Sora and Riku are fighting over their new friend, but as is the case across the series, things are more complicated than they seem. It is actually Riku's insecurities about his place in the trio's friendship that causes him to seek out power and suffer corruption. What were once noble ambitions to protect Sora, who is stated numerous times to be Riku's precious friend, fade away and Riku forgets why he wanted to be strong in the first place. This serves to drive a wedge between Sora and Riku, and in the first two games, Riku is presented as the morally ambiguous and perhaps even evil hero of darkness, while Sora is presented as the hero of light. We don't really know why at first why people want the fabled Kingdom Hearts, the heart of all worlds, but we know that the people who want it are evil and the people fighting them are good. This is a simple framework that a young mind like 14-year-old Sora would assume. Throughout the games, however, we learn that things aren't always that simple. Chain of Memories is our first time playing as Riku, who had aligned with the villains in the previous game. In Kingdom Hearts 2 and the Days games, we play as Roxas, who worked for the enigmatic Organization 13, led by one of the main villains of the series, Xemnas. We often are brought back to Sora and Riku as the central characters of the series, but Nomura never fails to show us a glimpse of people we once thought of as evil as being just as human and just as complicated as the boys in our leading roles. With each game, we get more mature introspections of just what makes a person and what justifies the action that person takes. In modern Kingdom Hearts, Sora, our hero of light, breaks the laws of reality for his own selfish desires to save his friend, regardless of the impact that may leave on the world. And, on the other hand, we get to play as the main villain of the series, Xehanort, starring in his very own game, Kingdom Hearts Dark Road. There's so many threads to pull on in the series. What are the nobodies? What is the nature of Riku's feelings towards Sora? Does wielding the powers of darkness make you evil? Did the adult characters we thought were good in the series know what would happen to Sora when they set him up to use the forbidden power of waking? Who is the master of masters? That only scratches the surface. Each of these topics can spool out into videos that are many hours long, and while I don't expect the average person or even the average fan to dive headlong into any of this, I think it's disingenuous to imply that you are a super fan when you make it clear you don't care about and possibly haven't even played most of the games in the series. I do like some of the handholds. I don't like Chain of Memories, and they're not really tie-ins. Direct they are direct sequels. The big difference is that Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, they all have the same gameplay of Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and occasionally a sidekick from the specific Disney world come in to fight with you. Lily doesn't even think that Days is an important game when it is a really important game actually. Yeah, the one with Shion is Days. And it's one of the more important ones in the game because it touches on Riku's redemption arc and it also kind of reveals that nobodies aren't people with like there's this whole thing in the second game is like are nobodies even people and like in Days, it's like, yeah, they are people, and, Ansem the Wise is lying to Riku when he says they aren't people to get him to do what he wants because Riku spends basically all the entire series being manipulated by adults older than him, then they're taking advantage of his, savior complex, um, and his insecurities, and the whole one big part in Kingdom Hearts is that people fucking lie to you. Like adults are lying to kids the entire fucking game. And you don't have to like the fact that Kingdom Hearts is a mess spread out over a series of games, but you can't say that the other games aren't important and then say that Kingdom Hearts good actually. You clearly don't understand the games.
Chain of Memories, 358 over 2 days, Coded, and the mobile game can all be safely skipped for the simple fact that no
they can't be.
information in those games is critical to the core of the
Yes, it is.
story, namely Master Xehanort's plans. Now that Kingdom Hearts 3 is out,
The mobile game reveals Xehanort's backstory and why he does the things that he does.
we know which information is important and which is just throwaway, so let me make it clear for you right now by going through everything except the 3 main games so you can get a clear idea of what you need to know and what you don't. Chain of Memories is only important to know who Marluxia, Larxene, Vexen, and Naminé are.
No, it's not.
But none of those characters make major
So Chain of Memories also, here, I will fill you in. So Chain of Memories is important because it's, like most of the games, it's about Riku and Sora's relationship. It reveals that, so Naminé is basically stealing memories from Riku and Sora and making them about her. Some of them have to do with Kairi, yes, but most of them are to do about each other. She replaces the memories in Sora's mind about Riku with memories about her, and she replaces the memories in Riku's mind about Sora with memories about her. Chain of Memories is apparently going to be a big sticking point for me, despite it being my least favorite in terms of gameplay, because it sets up so many plot points for later down the line. I also failed to mention in the stream that the Riku that Sora interacts with throughout the game is not, in fact, the real Riku, but a copy encoded with the corrupted memories given to him by Naminé. We do see the real Riku later, but his journey through the same setting is a dark reflection of Sora's. Sora's journey through Castle Oblivion is filled with memories of his friends and the times they spent together, and these are slowly taken from him as he ascends the castle. Riku, however, is presented to us at first as a New Game Plus, but it's quickly revealed that he has a completely different playstyle and story than Sora did. In an empty, lifeless world where we mostly encounter Ansem, the man that possessed his body in Kingdom Hearts 1 and initially gave him the power of darkness to begin with. I know I'm talking a lot about Riku in this video, and while that partially is because he's my favorite, it's also because Riku's outlook on the world reveals a lot more about how Kingdom Hearts works, whereas Sora is played straight as the delightful, hapless hero that takes everything people tell him at face value. While on that topic, I also want to bring up Kairi. Many people have a lot of gripes that she was seemingly sidelined in the series. Unfortunately, Kairi was never meant to fulfill the same role as Riku and Sora. While she plays a key part in the series, I hesitate to give her the same status as main character like I do the other two. Kairi hasn't been a main character since Disney stepped in and said that Donald and Goofy would serve as Sora's in-game companions, reducing both Kairi's and Riku's role. As someone who was always meant to be Sora's foil, it was simple enough to work Riku's betrayal in earlier into the story, but with the game's trajectory shifted the way it was, this left a much smaller role for Kairi. We could talk forever about what could have been and what should have been, but the fact is that we didn't get that game, and we likely never would have. It's important to critique a game where it is instead of making a moral judgment on what we think it should be and criticizing it based on that. I think that's the bare minimum to media literacy, but it's something that Lily Orchard fails on out of the gate. Good or bad, Lily Orchard makes up a version of the thing that she's reviewing that doesn't exist and talks about that instead of actually talking about the material that is right in front of her.
Chain of Memories also introduces replicas, which play a major role in Kingdom Hearts 3, but Riku explains what a replica is during Kingdom Hearts 3 anyway. The only major characters introduced in that game are Axel and the Organization, both of which play major roles in Kingdom Hearts 2. Chain of Memories also explains why Sora is in that pod at the start of Kingdom Hearts 2, but the game carries on regardless, so it's rather inconsequential. Days really fleshes out Roxas, Axel, and Xion, but Axel is fleshed
It's Xion. Who the fuck is Xion? It's Xion.
out a lot more in later games. Roxas and Xion do not appear until the very end of Kingdom Hearts 3, and playing, or rather watching, Days only makes the hug the three of them have a little more emotionally gripping.
A small detail that I want to add is that Lily tells on herself with this clip. Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days was initially released on the DS. Not that you could convince Lily to play most games on real hardware if you held a gun to her head. It took full advantage of the hardware capabilities and very specific engine that the dual screen and touch systems provide. When it was time to port the games over to the PlayStation systems, however, For whatever reason, a couple of the games weren't ported over as games, but instead were turned into what were essentially back to back cutscenes. So, seemingly by her own admission, Lily didn't even play Days. That wouldn't be a problem, and as I've said before, you can play whatever Kingdom Hearts games you like in any order, but you have no business calling yourself a superfan when you can't even bother to play one of the most important games in the series by your own admission.
Literally nothing happens in Coded that is worth talking about.
Yes, it does.
Just that there was a data space and something about Jiminy's journal.
While the plot and quote unquote lore of Coded haven't made a big impact on Kingdom Hearts as a series yet, it does give us a peek into the characterization of Riku and Sora. In Coded, we play a digital version of Sora, and we once again explore themes about what makes a person a person. This question is one of Kingdom Hearts' running themes, and we really interrogate that with nobodies, with the fan favorite Tron world, the Toy Story world in Kingdom Hearts 3, and in Coded. Data Sora is made up of the memories of real Sora, and so we have to ask, does that make Data Sora a person? When an entity is chosen to represent a guardian of the digital journal, Data Sora envisions this entity to be Riku. It's really telling how the real Sora feels about Riku. Despite all the wrong things that Riku has done to Sora, Sora still admires him, looks up to him, and associates Riku with strength, protection, security, and safety. The boy we once thought of as silly and naive turns out to actually see more of the complexities of his friend than I think most people give him credit for. Even when Riku is corrupted by a virus, Sora still sees Riku as someone worth saving, reflecting how Sora treats Riku after he's corrupted by darkness and the reality we've become familiar with.
Dream Drop Distance gives more context to Master Xehanort's plans and some revelations about Sora and his status as a Keyblade wielder.
And how Riku feels about Sora.
All of this happens in the final level at the world that never was, so you can easily just watch those cutscenes on YouTube. It doesn't take that long.
If you thought I was annoying about Chain of Memories, you haven't seen anything yet. Like many based and epic Riku enjoyers, Dream Drop Distance is my favorite game in the series, and it is absolutely packed with meaning. I could gush about this game for hours and hours, but I will present you with the major things Lily left out of her video. I assume that this is another game that Lily didn't actually play and probably just looked up the end cutscene on YouTube. Riku and Sora take their Mark of Mastery exam. Xehanort, naturally, intervenes in the affair, trapping Sora in the sleeping world. Riku is no longer someone that can be corrupted by darkness, instead, having mastered it, now uses it to do his bidding without experiencing the ill effects of it, making him useless to Xehanort. Through full force of will, Riku fundamentally changes what he is, changing from a human to Sora's Dream Eater, a spirit that protects someone from nightmares so that he can dive into his dreams and fight the forces of darkness as Sora sleeps. Despite starting out the series as rivals, in Dream Drop Distance, we find that Sora and Riku are perfectly in sync. The main theme of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, Dearly Beloved, turns out to be the song that is made up of the music inside of Riku's and Sora's hearts. Neither song is complete without its other half. This is also where we discover the combined Keyblade, which is one of the most powerful Keyblades in the game and is created when Sora and Riku fight in perfect harmony. This ends up showing up in Kingdom Hearts 3 when the two fight alongside each other as well. Sora fails to wake up even after Xehanort has been thwarted, so Riku must take one last dive into Sora's heart. What we see here is one of the more mysterious scenes in the game. Riku meets Ventus, Xion, and Roxas, who reside within Sora's heart as different parts of himself. They ask us questions. While you can technically give whatever answer you want, only one set of answers will give you the full ending of the game. You must tell them that the thing you fear the most is losing something important. The thing that is most important to you is your close friends, and the reason you are there is to recover something precious. This reveals Riku's true character, motivations, and values in full, and has many implications on what his true feelings for Sora might be. However deeply you choose to believe Riku's feelings for Sora run, it's clear that Sora is very important to him and serves as a central motivation for his actions throughout the series.
Sora ultimately fails his exam and Riku passes, bringing his redemption arc to a close. Sora, ever the lighthearted character, does not seem to be bitter at all about this, and happily celebrates his clear victory that Riku has fought so hard to achieve.
0.2 doesn't really add much, just sorta checks up on Aqua in the Realm of Darkness and introduces you to the Demon Tower and Demon Tide, two bosses that Square really likes because they use it over and over and over and over again.
I will kind of agree with that, but it does kind of like show the despair that Aqua has been in. Like her Aqua's friends completely well, Terra and Ventus couldn't really help it. But like Mickey and all of her other friends abandoned her and did not go looking for her for over a fucking decade. And we're seeing why she gets corrupted because she becomes like she briefly becomes a villain in Kingdom Hearts 3. Um and this is supposed to show why and how she became corrupted.
0.2 is a game you only need to play if you like Aqua. That's it. No other story crucial information will appear in this game other than the fact that King Mickey's an asshole. Union is only represented in the final phase of the Demon Tide fight, and the context is already given in that fight of being Keyblade wielders from long ago. The epilogue to the game also brings back characters called the Foretellers and Lushu, but currently you do.
Okay, so she clearly didn't actually play the game. Again, she did not play yeah, Haley Joel Osment does his best. But anyway, so it's supposed to kind of show why Disney worlds are used. And supposed to kind of be like, hey, these worlds are literal storybooks. And just
do not need to know much to understand what's going on. The epilogue is not important to the game, only to potentially future games. And that's all of them. So why do people claim
pretty
these
fucking
games
important.
So incomprehensible? Well, in general, a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans don't quite grasp the phrase, I got the gist of it. Like many fandoms, a lot of them think that every single tiny detail is super important to the series and the enjoyment thereof. Now, this has never really been true. Kingdom Hearts gets lost in its plot threads a lot of the time, but the main story of Sora versus Master Xehanort is
that's not the main story.
Extremely concise and handled in 3 games, and a bit of dream drop distance. And any additional details that might be necessary for that story are usually reiterated.
Xehanort is again, this game is not so much. I mean, I guess it is about Xehanort, but it's like it's a character drama. The important part is the character dynamics. And yeah, you can get, oh, cool Disney game with Final Fantasy aesthetics, and you can have a perfectly good time just playing the numbered games and having fun. But you're not understanding the full story. You know what I mean? And like there's games that I have played that I don't give a shit about the story. Like I don't care about Soul Calibur's story. Like it's stupid and like I just want to beat up people with swords and stuff and have a good time about it. But I don't pretend to understand the story of Soul Calibur. Um and it doesn't really matter to me. And it's fine if you play Kingdom Hearts and the story and the character drama doesn't really matter to you, but don't pretend like you're somebody who like it's just weird that she's like, this is my favorite thing and I love it so much, but she doesn't understand it at all, you know? Like yeah, sorry, I am getting really mad about this, way madder than I did about the Coffin of Andy and Lele, because Kingdom Hearts is my favorite thing ever. I love it so, so much. But you're talking about it as if you don't care about it, Lily. You only want to play cool game.
To the other characters when they're necessary to the story of a particular game. Kingdom Hearts takes advantage of the fact that Sora isn't around for a lot of these games, or has had his memory wiped to give an opening to explain things that might need to be explained. As long as you accept that random threads like Roxas, Geo, and the Foretellers, etc. aren't actually crucial to the story,
They are kind of crucial to the story, though.
regardless of what some people might say, then any information you don't understand can be safely disregarded or looked up on the internet if you really want to know. In fact, Kingdom Hearts 3 comes packaged with a codex to explain details of the story that you might need to brush up on if you think you need it. Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't even need a full attention span for its own game. I skipped the cutscenes for most of the big heroes.
Why does she keep telling on herself? I skipped all the cutscenes and I understood it perfectly. No, you fucking didn't.
6 and Monsters Inc. world, and the only thing of importance I missed was Sully interrupting Vanitas in his stupid dark bullshit and yeeting him through a door. So now that we've got my flex on the rest of the Kingdom Hearts fandom out of the way, I'm just gonna gush about Kingdom Hearts 3 for the rest of the video and pretend that it's actually valid criticism, okay?
Lily proceeds to gush about the earnestness of the Kingdom Hearts series. I think there's something to be said about how Kingdom Hearts trusts its audience to suspend their disbelief and buy into the reality of its world. While it can be funny at times to see things like a Final Fantasy-esque twink, a cartoon Disney character, and a realistically rendered Jack Sparrow on the screen all at once, if you let yourself get immersed into the world, it's not as jarring as many people make it out to be. As esoteric as a series can be at times, the feelings that you get while playing it and the characters you meet are all pretty consistent. Kingdom Hearts is immersed in a world of fairy tales, and I think that's a really fun world to explore. Lily, however, as much as she gushes about the earnestness of the games, still can't go more than a few seconds in this part of the review without calling the series stupid bullshit over and over again. It really makes me wonder why Lily even likes the game. She can't seem to find a truly good thing to say about it outside of thinking Sora is the goodest and most adorable boy. To me, as someone who has been immersed in the Kingdom Hearts fandom for just as long as Lily claims to be, though I personally have my doubts, I can't see Lily caring about it as anything more than feeding grounds prime for the picking of little pieces and details to use in her poorly written and researched fan fictions. If you're familiar with fandom spaces, you might be familiar with some of the more niche hobbies associated with them, that being fanfic and tangentially related roleplay. While there is fan content in Kingdom Hearts that I greatly enjoy and have participated in creating and enjoying fan content all across the spectrum myself, I find myself in a position to notice certain patterns about Lily Orchard's writing. I have a theory about Lily Orchard and her writing. I'm presently convinced that Lily's writing process starts not on a drawing board, but in roleplay. There are some issues with pacing and with how scenes are set up, the vagueness of certain actions, the focus on specific details. If you know what to look for, you may have noticed this too. While her supposed Kingdom Hearts fanfic that has nothing to actually do with Kingdom Hearts exhibits symptoms of what its true roots might be, nowhere is this more evident than her series PokeMadhouse. As much as I wish I could go into the full depth of Lily's feelings about Pokemon, this isn't the time, and I'm honestly not sure if I'm the man for the job. But I think it's worth pointing out that Lily's feelings on the Pokemon franchise are like a dark reflection of her feelings about the Kingdom Hearts franchise. For her Pokemon retrospective, Lily blatantly breaks the game, hacking in Ralts as her starter Pokemon in every single game it is physically possible to via codes. This breaks the difficulty curve of the game, making early gyms that were set up to be easier for someone with one of the intended starter Pokemon very difficult. By the time Lily has fully evolved her hacked in Gardevoir sister wife, and I do not want to get into that right now, she now has one of the more powerful Pokemon in the game and wipes the floor with most enemies she encounters. Like Kingdom Hearts, Lily has morphed the Pokemon series into something that it isn't. Instead of loving it, however, the nostalgia glasses have come off. Lily's awful habit of comparing villains to real world politicians rears its nasty head, and she compares stand ins for what are clearly supposed to be environmental terrorists and overzealous animal rights activists like PETA to actual honest to God Nazis. Lily Orchard is a walking, talking speed run of Godwin's Law in almost every single one of her videos. Lily's Pokemon comic centers around her self titled insert character Lily, her wife's insert character, Michaela, and the family slash polycule slash Pokemon team of the pair, one member of which is a Gardevoir, whom, as previously mentioned, serves as the real life Lily's hacked in Pokemon. In her review, Lily says that all she wants to do is walk around and explore the Pokemon world with her walking celery rather than engage with the plot, and every page of PokeMadhouse that I have seen is set inside the aforementioned house, with the characters never going anywhere or doing anything. Lily refuses to accept Pokemon for what it is, just like she refuses to accept Kingdom Hearts for what it is. Whether Lily thinks any one series is good or bad seems completely random and arbitrary.
2, Donald was notorious for refusing to heal you or healing you at really bad times, like 8 picoseconds before you're about to heal yourself, and here it's even fucking worse. He still won't heal you even if you're in a position where you can't heal yourself because he's a little bitch.
Okay.
even fucking worse. He still won't heal you even if you're in a
Why isn't Donald healing me? Why isn't he healing me? It's because he's fucking stunned, you idiot. I have never had an issue of Donald not healing me when he needed to. That's never been a problem for me. I don't know why that's such a common complaint. Maybe don't just I feel like it comes from people that don't actually use strategy and doesn't actually use because you can give Donald and Goofy some direction on how their AI behaves. And if you don't like what they're doing, like you can say, "Hey, Donald, only heal me when my HP is low, or only heal me when I'm at like half HP," and he'll do that. Um, and like if you go in and you just keep smashing the bad guy with your Keyblade and not put any strategy on it, yeah, you're gonna lose HP really fucking fast. There is some strategy to this game, just like any hack and slash. If you play on easy mode, you'll probably get through the story without having to use much strategy. But if you want to play this game skillfully, you can't just wail on the bad guys and hope it works out. It won't work. Anyway, my major tip for playing Kingdom Hearts is go in, do as much damage as you can, and then when the enemy starts telegraphing that they're about to attack you, move away. All of the enemies in Kingdom Hearts telegraph the attacks that they're going to use. Just learn their attack patterns and learn what the telegraphs are. And just use that in your most enemies are different and unique enough that you can't they have different patterns, but you can learn basically any of the enemy's patterns. Yeah, paying attention to boss and enemy patterns like so many video games. It's not revolutionary, but that's how you get good at Kingdom Hearts. Just pay attention. And the fact that Lily is like, "Why won't Donald heal me?" and he's knocked on his ass is telling. Like in that clip, she's complaining that Donald won't heal Sora when Donald is stunned and out of HP. So that's interesting.
Speaking of Tangled, Sora spends the entire world just flexing on Eugene. The moments where Sora's flirting with Rapunzel are some of the cheesiest moments in the history
He's not flirting with her.
of anything, and I fucking love every goddamn second.
He's playful, and most of the ways that Sora plays with his friends is beating the shit out of them. Even Titus, Waka, and Selfie, they wrestle and splash around on the beach and hit each other's with jump ropes and balls and sticks. This is just how Sora plays. And Sora hasn't really gotten to play and be cheerful in 3 years? 2 years? 14. So yeah, 2 years. And Tangled and Rapunzel's been locked in a tower her whole life. They're literally just two kids playing. Get over yourself. She is shipping Sora and Rapunzel because she's a fucking idiot because she can't see a boy being nice to a girl and not read it as sexual or something. I don't know.
Like Sora, you have to be bi. It's like a rule. This whole series has ship teased him with both Riku and Kairi, so we always kind of knew, but still.
I have so many things to say about that, but let's go.
Sora's bi, everyone. Speaking of bisexuality, Nomura really has issues with women, to be completely honest. In Kingdom Hearts 3, almost all the female characters get the shaft. Naminé is barely seen until the epilogue. Xion comes back, but only sorta. And Larxene is still there, being the only one with a full roster of dialogue.
Larxene.
Outside of the big two.
Larxene.
Probably the worst because she's one of the most badass characters in the entire series, and here she loses to literally everyone she fights.
Yeah, you're not saying anything new. Nomura has issues with writing female characters, but also here's the thing is that the reason that there's more male original characters in Kingdom Hearts is basically because all of the Disney characters that we meet and we interact with the most are female characters. Because especially in the earlier games, the female character, well, I wouldn't say that. In all of the games, the female Disney characters take such center stage that most of the characters that they added were male. Otherwise, you'd have an almost entirely female cast when this game was supposed to appeal to boys and girls. So while it's a problem that Kairi gets shafted, there is a reason why Nomura wasn't as concerned about it. And I'm gonna hit you with a stick if you think that Nomura, who has written a lot of really compelling, incredible female characters, because he's also behind the story and art and direction of all of the Final Fantasy games, which have amazing female characters, I think you're an idiot. Um, it's just that we already had the Disney princesses as a starring role of this game. So the other portion where we have Sora and Riku taking center stage and Ansem being the one of the villains, and then you had Maleficent being the other major villain. Like, it is an issue in some respects, but only if you ignore all of the Disney characters in the game.
And this is weird because aside from Sora, she's already smacked all of these people around like fruit flies in the past. Why is she losing to them now? But the thing is, I don't necessarily mind because there seems to be a little bit of self-awareness.
It's because the power of darkness is stronger than the power of light in terms of brute strength. So when Aqua acts tapped into the power of darkness, she was stronger. That's why Riku embracing both is so important, because he's able to be incredibly strong while also not letting go of his ideals and his friends. Aqua can only do one or the other, because she's afraid of the darkness, whereas Riku is not.
From Nomura when Aqua stops Sora from aiding in the fight against Vanitas by saying, "You've seen me too weak, I need to flex on this guy." And she does, at least until she catches cutscene incompetence. Kairi's the other outlier, as despite being a Keyblade wielder, she still doesn't do anything particularly
Yeah, because she's not a very experienced Keyblade wielder.
noteworthy. She kills like maybe one shadow and does a little dueling with Xion, but the boss fight where she's actually a party member gets swiftly interrupted, and she's replaced by Xion because she gets kidnapped by Xemnas again before getting killed by Xehanort because Sora requires motivation. The characters themselves are so endearing and so enjoyable that the fact that everything that happens to them is really, really dumb just kind of slides off your brain. Kingdom Hearts has so many bad writing tropes that it's ridiculous, but it's played with such sincerity that you just get swept up in the nonsense and you're along for the ride. It really feels like a roller coaster at times where the story is such bullshit, but it's exciting and fascinating bullshit. Compare this to something like Steven Universe, which
Steven Universe mentioned, because she can't fucking go one video without Rebecca Sugar living rent-free in her mind. And here, I'll admit this. Steven Universe is better storytelling-wise than Kingdom Hearts. Even though I care more about Kingdom Hearts for even though I personally care more about Kingdom Hearts than Steven Universe, I'm willing to admit that Steven Universe is just had to run back to your phone to scream, yeah. Um, but even though, I like Kingdom Hearts more, I can admit that Steven Universe is just a better, well put together, more concise, more it just achieves what it's trying to do better, I think. Well, I would say that because I think that Kingdom Hearts is trying to achieve something and does that very well, where Nomura is, trying to emulate um, anime that he grew up with in the 70s and the 80s, and how it had that sort of esoteric feeling. And he's putting that into a video game because he really likes that. And I would say that it succeeds in that really, really well. Oh, let's play the rest of this out.
has writing on the same level of quality as Kingdom Hearts, but all the characters are either creepy, sleazy, aggressively sanctimonious, or just aggressively detestable, and the story keeps
Who in Steven Universe is sleazy? I would also say that there are characters in Kingdom Hearts that are way more sleazy and weird and creepy than any character in um in Steven Universe. Um Ansem the Wise is a pretty good example of it, where he kidnaps children to do experiments on them, and then even when he supposedly learned his lesson, continues to manipulate Riku, by trying to by trying to convince him that, like, oh yeah, these aren't real people. You can totally murder this child and be completely guilt free about it. Just do it, Riku. Do it. Kill the child. You can do it. And because Riku is so obsessed with saving Sora, he does it. And it's a problem.
trying to pretend that it's really smart and insightful, while Kingdom Hearts tends to relish in its ridiculousness. It's absolutely packed full of things that make me go, fuck you, Nomura, without ever enjoying the series any less. Trying to apply a critical eye to Kingdom Hearts proves difficult, as it's so wholly unlike anything else, and created by someone who's not only making it up as he goes.
He's not making up as he goes along, for one thing. He's had a pretty concrete plan about it. It's just maybe a little bit too esoteric for most people, and that's fine because I can understand that that does get annoying to people, but every single game, every single storyline has been thought out since the beginning. Nomura refused to make Kingdom Hearts 3 for a decade because they wouldn't let him use Toy Story as a world. And he wanted to use Toy Story as a world because he wanted to like how are hearts made? Like what makes a person essentially is what that question is. And it also relates back into the whole things with nobodies. Like the nobodies who Anson the Wise says aren't real people are real people because I'm gonna have to read back in chat, but let me finish my tangent. So nobodies you're told aren't real people. This is a lie. In Days, which is one of the games that Lily told you to skip, we find out that nobodies can grow their hearts back if they nurture them, if they make friends and memories and care. They can learn to love again. Haha. Now I mentioned Kingdom Hearts. Now I mentioned Steven Universe in the Kingdom Hearts video. You know, something awful happened to these people and they became a fragment of what they once were, but then they find a family and people that love them and heal because changing relationships, healing, growing, becoming something new is what Kingdom Hearts is about. How often she mentions Kingdom Hearts in her videos like it's some masterpiece, but it's just like it's so dumb and pointless and stupid. Um yeah, so she talks about how it's a masterpiece, but oh, Kingdom Hearts is dumb and stupid. And it's like you're not even understanding the good things about Kingdom Hearts. Also, is that a My Little Pony background? Yeah, that's Twilight's library, I think. You're fired, Lily. Okay, so here's another thing. In Western media, we had this movement in the early 1900s. I'm about to crack open like some like deep media analysis here. So in the early 1900s, maybe it was like more mid-century, but theater in the West, we started looking at it and being like, hey, let's actually be more subtle acting. So there became this big trend of subtle acting that is still going on today, to be subversive and to like, you know, like be subtle and like kind of low key. In Japan, they never did this. Theater was always really high energy, really sincere, really intense. Um, you see a lot of acting that we would compare to soap operas here. But it's why like it's not just Japan though. It's why like Latin America and India, like when we see media from there, it's like, oh, it's so cheesy and goofy. And it's like, yeah, because they didn't have a movement like we did in the West, where we decided that subversion and subtlety was better than sincerity and over the top acting. But Lily also doesn't like that either. She doesn't understand why musicals do what they do. So in a musical, when a character is feeling something, if they're feeling so much that um, when a character feels something so intense, uh, it can't be described by just regular acting. They start to sing. And when singing isn't enough, they start to dance. Um, and that's how like musicals and operas have been since the existence and birth of operas. But she doesn't like musicals either. So she both can't stand the subversive, sort of subtle acting and portrayals of Western media, but she also doesn't like it when she thinks it's stupid bullshit when things are sincere and over the top. I don't get it. I don't understand. And she doesn't understand why those two schools of portraying, like, character moments and drama are different in the West and the East, or I should say in, like, English-speaking Western countries and, like, basically anywhere else in the West, basically anywhere else, I should say. Sorry to go off on that weird tangent, but she doesn't seem to understand where those 2 schools of, acting, let's just call it acting, exist, or why they exist, or why they're different. She just complains about them.
I can't do it. I mean, I could sit here and detail all the little things that bother me in every cutscene, but the thing is, I don't really want to. None of the series' bullshit has ever really been a deal breaker.
This is my favorite thing ever, and I'm really obsessed with it, but I don't really want to actually examine it. Okay.
It's only ever been a minor annoyance at worst and extremely funny at best. Kingdom Hearts is sheer joyful energy, and if you relish in that dumb, stupid shit like I do, there is only fun times to have. I've been in love with this series for 13 years, and while it's been a rage-inducing ride sometimes, I have not regretted a single moment I've spent with the series, and I can't really say that about anything else. Kingdom Hearts really is perfect.
I mean, again, I would say that Steven Universe is more coherent than Kingdom Hearts. Though a lot of the real issues both come down to, like, the suits get too involved. No, she doesn't want you to watch the cutscenes. She said to skip over the cutscenes because they're pointless and don't have anything to say. I don't know what she's getting out of Kingdom Hearts, honestly, because she didn't seem to have actually played any of the games. Oh, yeah, like, you can watch them on yeah. But she said, "Don't bother with that, I'm just gonna break it down," and then proceeded to not explain anything about the games that she said you can skip. Um, so, yeah. I like Kingdom Hearts Steven Universe because they have similar vibes, and she's such a hateful person, so I honestly can't believe she actually enjoys anything, LOL. Yeah, well, I think it's because you've gotta understand that, like, Kingdom Hearts came out I'm the same age as Lily. She's actually only, like, 2 months older than I am, but so I get it. It is so anime, but here's the thing you gotta remember, Lily is looking at Kingdom Hearts with nostalgia goggles on. Um, Kingdom Hearts came out when both Lily and I were the target audience for it, and I would say that we both ate it up because it's my favorite thing and it's reportedly her favorite thing, though I'm honestly confused by that, because she didn't actually seem to, like, parse the entire series, but whatever. It's the difference between me and Lily is I'm perfectly willing to admit that I like something that at times can be a flaming turd. And I'm willing, like, she wants to ignore the things that make it bad, but surprising absolutely no one, Lily Orchard is a hypocrite. I'm probably gonna wrap this up soon anyway. But I'm just gonna kind of make a conclusion about the whole Lily thing is that I think that, like, the biggest problem is that Lily wants things to be things that they are not. And when they are not the things that she wants them to be, she thinks that means those things are bad. I think that's the conclusion we can draw from this. She even wants Kingdom Hearts to be something that it isn't, but because she's been a fan of it for so long, she'll make an excuse for it. Um, Even though it's not what she's saying that it is, she still is like, "I love it though." And it's like, you're literally just ignoring everything about the thing for it to be what you want it to be in your head. And I think that's also why her fan fiction based on it doesn't actually resemble Kingdom Hearts at all. And it's because she didn't actually She's not internalizing anything about the story. So she does it to things she likes and she does it to things that she doesn't like, where she just is like, "Oh, I think it should be like this." But it's not, and therefore bad, or therefore it's okay. Like it's so bizarre.
There's a lot of videos on YouTube of people picking apart Lily's criticisms, but I think this video of a game she claims to love adds another perspective into the absolute bank of evidence. Lily is largely a very mean spirited and reactionary person, and I think there was a time on the internet where that kind of viewpoint was highly sought after. I think in some niche circles it still is, which is why Lily and Michaela's Patreon has over 500 followers. That being said, I think people are starting to see right through it. Even when she claims she's here to sing a game's praises, she neglects to actually examine or interact with it in any meaningful way. Kingdom Hearts has a lot of deep cut pieces of lore, story, and character development for fans of the series to dig into and just rotate around in their heads, and Lily isn't interested in any of it. It's a reflection of her competence as a writer and her poor media literacy. While there are many things to say about Lily Orchard's time in the spotlight of the internet, I think it's safe to say that she has never really had anything important to say about anything, and with any luck, she'll fade from the public eye and people will stop listening to what she has to say. That's going to be it for this video. If you're interested in following me on Twitch to see my streams, my information will be in the description below. I'd like to make more edited content as well, so if you'd be interested in that, please like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions on games I should cover or awful takes I can react to, Lily Orchard or otherwise, please let me know in the comments. Bye bye.